Well, January is over, and I'm going to talk about all 9 movies that I watched during the month, and rank them from the worst to the best. So if you guys see a movie that I'm about to talk about and rank that you haven't seen, just be wary that I might have some spoilery things, included in my summarization of why I rank it where I rank it on the list. So with that, let's get into the ranking here.
It's vengeance most foul!
Starting off with Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I am a big Wallace and Gromit fan. I love Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, as well as the other films that they have done in the past. I love claymation in general. It's one of my favorite types of animation. I like what Aardman Studios does, and I love the 2 characters of Wallace and Gromit. They're back in this movie facing off against Feathers McGraw, who is a great villain, great returning character. It's got the heart that a Wallace and Gromit film has. It's got some nice, exciting action scenes where they're chasing down Feathers McGraw. Norbot was a fun addition to the roster of characters. Maybe 1 or 2 characters included in here didn't quite pack a comedic punch, or they weren't quite as interesting as characters that we've had in the past. But I still found it to be a very fun movie that touches the heart of Wallace and Gromit fans, so I'm putting this in the great tier.
It's never too late to ask for forgiveness for what we did.
Now we have The Damned. This is a 1800s horror period piece. Pretty much, it's kind of very reminiscent of a Robert Eggers movie. It very much gets you in that time period, that really run-down Icelandic snowy setting that we have here. Offers some very good imagery. There's a kind of feeling of dread hovering over the entire film, much like Nosferatu had. And I did really, really come close to liking this movie. It just makes a mistake very much towards the end. The ending kind of fumbles the ball. It was like, that's really what we're leading up to this whole time, where we have our characters being haunted by this crew member that drowned because they try to save these crew members that were sunk. Their ship was sunk. They go there, and they're haunted by this dead guy the whole movie. And you think it's leading up to something, but it's really a letdown at the end. It also takes a little bit to really get going. The pacing here is very it's not really rapid, but like it kind of gets going. The wheels are turning, then it just slows back down. So I'm going to put it on the meh tier.
Who wants to come to Neverland with me?
Next, we have Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and this is another entry into the Pooniverse, which, oh my god, we've got a bunch of other entries to the Pooniverse coming up this year, so this was our first one. I will say, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, while I don't think it's good, there is potential here. I like the main guy playing Peter Pan. I think he's very creepy. There's some brutal kills there. It really goes for it in certain parts. I just think it's so half-baked. You have Wendy that I didn't really connect with whatsoever. You don't learn much about her. Even though you spend a good chunk of time with her, to the point where you might even be like, where the hell's Peter Pan? I want to get back to him. And you still don't really learn all that much about her. I mean, she has family issues with her mom sometimes, and then she loves her brothers. I don't know. And then she faces off against Peter Pan in like the last like half hour of the film. You don't really get a build up to that rivalry or that fight whatsoever. So it had potential, but it is very underwhelming. So unfortunately, it is going in the bad tier. Another bad entry to the Pooniverse. Hopefully the next ones can stick the landing.
You're scaring me.
And next we have Wolfman. This is a movie that I wasn't really excited for, but it still somehow managed to disappoint me. This is a movie that I gave a 6 out of 10 to in my review, and since then I've kind of went back and forth on whether or not I should dip lower than that, because the more I think about it, there's nothing memorable about this movie. It's very much it's definitely like a one and done. Like, I don't think I'll ever really watch this movie again because it's just so bare bones. It's really just this guy gets infected by this wolf, and he goes to this house with his family, and they try to survive, and he's slowly turning into the wolf, and then the last like 20 to 15 minutes you get some like werewolf action in there. So it's very much a slow build up. There is some good body horror in there, which I think is what gives it a bit of a boost for me over others, but still, that's not something that I can say redeems it, because it's just so underdeveloped, and it just doesn't feel as genius, as smart as Upgrade and The Invisible Man from Leigh Whannell. Those movies kind of keep you on your toes, and they're like one step ahead of you. You think the twist is going one way, and then it surprises you, sweeps the rug out from under you. And Wolfman never really does that. So unfortunately, it is going in the meh tier.
I felt like the bitch again.
Next up, we have Back in Action. This is a Netflix action film, which, yeah, that really doesn't bode well. But unlike stuff like Red Notice or Atlas or stuff like that, this one does have a bit of charm to it, as it's a family story. You have Cameron Diaz returning to acting after nearly a decade. You have Jamie Foxx returning to acting after all of his medical troubles. I'm glad he bounced back and gave us another movie. And for the most part, it is pretty enjoyable. Glenn Close is in there as well. You have some pretty good action sequences, nothing spectacular. It's just Cameron Diaz shooting people in the face and doing bike stunts off of cars and shit like that. Nothing really standing out amongst that. But it has a good heart to it. It has a good family story. How they kind of leave their secret agent life behind, and they start a family, and they don't resent that. They don't say like, oh, I wish we never started this life, we just kept going. But no, like, they actually say like, we stand up for our choices, we love our kids, and we don't regret leaving that life behind, and I like that. But where it is a bit forgettable, there's nothing really there's just nothing that I can really point out. It's like, oh, that is a moment that's gonna really stand out amongst all these Netflix action movies. So, unfortunately, it's going on the meh tier, but it's not really bad. It's not a bad movie.
I want to go home. Henry. Is that my sister?
Then we've got Henry Danger the movie. And if y'all know, I watched The Thunderman's Return from last year. And you guys know I put myself through some bad movies. You've seen it on Media Dumpster, the movies I watched there. And yeah, this movie's another bad Nickelodeon movie. Granted, I wouldn't say it's as bad as The Thunderman's Return, because that movie has the mistake of making it feel like a long episode by including the laugh track, so it just felt like a longer extended episode. But this movie, it's actually shot like it's a movie. Sure, there are some TV movie elements still in there, but you don't have a laugh track from the series. I was really thinking, this series had a laugh track, they're going to bring it back. They did not bring that in. Henry Danger goes through different fan fictions of this, like, super fan. He gets trapped in these little fan fictions. They have to fight their way through Ariana Grande's brother, and this, like, big tall guy, and then Henry's sister, who is a vampire in this fan fiction for some reason. It's just very dumb. Nothing of real entertainment value here. Maybe one moment at the very end, I was like, alright, that's good. Henry Danger, no surprise, is going in the bad tier. Then we got Presence, which is a ghost horror movie that I had to remind myself was a ghost horror movie. There's nothing really scary about this. If you're looking for a horror movie, look for fucking anything else but Presence, because nothing's really scary. There's one or two moments where it's like, little jump scare moments, but the ghost doesn't do a whole lot. Moves a couple books, shakes some stuff off a wall, and makes some stuff fall off like cabinets and shit like that. Just nothing really all that memorable about it. It's filmed in a POV style where you are the ghost. It's very much like you're watching In a Violent Nature, where we're just following the killer the whole time. It really, in that way, the way it's filmed, it both complements it and hurts it, because yeah, it's a cool way to film it, where the ghost is getting up close and personal with these people, and kind of viewing them from the sides and out windows and shit like that. But at the same time, you kind of feel at an arm's length from the characters. You don't really connect to them. You don't feel for them all that much. Just nothing really all that memorable or impactful about it. Nothing scary. So Presence is going in the meh tier.
Y'all need a pilot?
Then we have Flight Risk, which Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson. This is Mel Gibson's first film since Hacksaw Ridge. And I like Mark Wahlberg. I like Mikey Mike. I like Mikey Mike, alright? He makes you laugh and all that shit. But here, he's got a bald head, he's flying a plane. Like, what are we doing here? No, really though, Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson, this is not worth your talent whatsoever. Fucking at all. This movie is tone deaf in the way that it'll go from Marky Mark making really rapey comments to Topher Grace's character. And then you have, like, Michelle Dockery's character flying the plane and trying to get guidelines from this pilot that they have on the phone. And he's flirting with her, like, oh, you want to go out and dance and have a couple drinks? And it just doesn't work. And it's fucking cringe as hell. Marky Mark is having a good time. And at parts, there's moments where it's like, it's so bad it's good because of his performance in particular. Like, you could almost watch this and know, like, yeah, not a good movie, but Marky Mark's pretty funny in it. But like I said, he has these rapey comments that just come out of nowhere. Like, I dreamt of you suckling on my nipples. He says that at one point to Topher Grace's character. And I was like, where did that come from? But I don't know, it just wasn't needed. I don't think it was very good. So, Flight Risk lands at the bad tier.
Are you breaking up with me?
It's not you. It's me.
And coming in at my favorite film of the entire month of January, we have Companion. I really loved Companion. Even if you've seen the trailers, going into it, I was like, yeah, the trailers gave away a good bit. There is some stuff, though, in the movie that does not get given away completely in the trailers, where you're like, oh, that's cool, that's interesting. And then you got Sophie Thatcher, who just completely steals the show as Iris, and it's got some very brutal moments in here. And now it's not like a full-on horror. I would say it's more of a thriller. It's a thriller horror. It's more of a thriller. But boy, did it have me thrilled, because I just enjoyed my time thoroughly throughout the entire film. It's just so fun and brilliant in that way. The way that the script is written is really fun, keeps you on your toes. And yeah, I wish I hadn't watched that second trailer, because I would have loved this even more, but I still really, really dug it. I had a great time with it, and it's one that I'm going to watch consistently throughout this year and for years to come. So, Companion gets in the great tier at the very top, and here is our ranking. We have Companion, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, The Damned, Wolfman, Back in Action, Presence, Flight Risk, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and Henry Danger the movie. Let me know where you guys would rank these on your list. I know there's a few films that I did miss out on. Better Man, I'm going to watch that soon, as well as You're Cordially Invited with Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell. And February is going to be fun. We got The Monkey, we got Captain America, Brave New World, we've got Love Hurts and Hard Eyes coming later this week. Stay tuned for my reviews on that. And with that, I want to thank you guys very much for watching. Take care and goodbye.